Welcome to a Fresh Perspective podcast, catering to the latest in ingredient trends, consumer insights, and food news. Brought to you by Corbion.
Hi, I'm CJ, and this is Fresh Perspective, a food podcast, and I am joined by my co-host,
Jenny Colzer. We are here to talk about the 2020 bakery trends with JoAnn. JoAnn is a insights person at Corbion. CJ, do you want to say a little bit more about what JoAnn does? And then
Yeah, she leads global insights for bakery and for food now at Corbion. She's got a wealth of experience in insights and trends and what consumers are doing. Welcome, JoAnn.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
And we are coming at you from our houses, so that's why it sounds and this way and looks like the inside
DJ's
of my house.
Beautiful
because it
with
is.
The flowers.
Strategically place these plants around so you can't see anything. But because we're all on lockdown, self-isolation, self-quarantining, doing the good thing. I got to spend my birthday this weekend in isolation, and
I was going to tell you happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, happy birthday, CJ.
My friends all showed up with many different cupcakes and cookies, and they all had to stand in the street 6 feet apart and lay them down so we could come get them one at a time, and then cheers from there. But I've been eating cupcakes for breakfast this morning because I still have them left. So
that's so nice.
It was good. It was fantastic.
Speaking of cupcakes, is that not a perfect seg into our bakery trends conversation?
Exactly. So today we're here to talk about the 2020 trends for food and kind of what they look like when we were looking at them at the beginning of the year, and maybe even how they've changed as we move through the year and move through this pandemic, if there's any noticeable changes. And then as we move on in future podcasts, we'll talk about what we're continuing to see. But today we're just here to talk about the 2020 trends.
Okay. What's our first question for JoAnn?
So JoAnn, just looking at all of the information you have and everything you've seen, what are some of the industry trends that we should be paying attention to and that food production people should be looking at?
You think back just a few weeks ago, how things were so different. And then at the end of the year in 2020, for 2020, we did a series of research projects just to try and identify what's going on. And so we do that as the insights team. We cluster all of the top 10s that you get in your email and all that kind of thing. And to really come up with what are the the top 10 powerful trends in, food and beverage and consumer packaged in general today. So, we did that, and, we had all these plans going forward for 2020, and we're going to, tackle it by storm. And then what happens, the end
You're
of
not
February,
the only one, right?
Everybody
plans right now because of what's
it's
happened.
all crazy. Yeah, it's really crazy. But there are still very, very key ones, 6 growth defining trends or macro trends that are really dominating. And those things will stay the same. A lot of people think about, certain lower level trends like, protein and, exercise and natural and those trends, but there's ones that are higher level, the higher level macro trends.
So shoot one at us. What's one of the big ones that we're seeing?
An example.
Yeah. So one of the biggest ones that was really prominent last year and probably 5 to even 10 years before is ethical and responsible consumerism. And it's something that is really taken the consumer packaged goods by storm. That factors in things like clean label, factors in better for you, free from, things like that, organic, real.
Explain
anything.
What free from means, JoAnn. What's free from?
Free from's it could be sugar free. It could be free from dairy products.
Okay.
Free from gluten. Gluten free is very big. So those are some of the real prominent ethical and responsible trends that consumers are looking at. And so you think about that as it's going to change and what that might look like in a few months. Will they be dominating anymore? And so that's the real thing. There's other ones I know I touched just on that, but those are some of the biggest trends. Things like convenience, speed, and efficiency, simplicity, anything new and interesting, and of course, healthy living. So, yeah.
So can we look at those numbers and those trends, and even though this is unprecedented, what we're going through right now is truly unprecedented, can we kind of project what we think is going to happen? Like, I would expect, I mean, this, you just make assumptions, right? Like I would expect like sugar consumption to go up because now we're going to use pre-prepared packaged foods that are easy and safe to get from the supermarket, or those kinds of.
And there's still this feeling of like comfort, indulgent foods that I want. Like I never want brownies, but the other day I was like, can we buy some fudge brownie mix? Because I just want to indulge on a brownie and make myself feel good about life.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, no, we actually had the question come up about, what's going to happen at Easter? Is Easter going to still, happen? Of course it is on the religious side of it, but, the traditions and the things that consumers used to do may be different because you're not going to grandma's house and you're not going to church. You're going to be doing all this in your home that you've been doing the last several days. And how is Easter going to be different? Will the products that people choosing be different? I don't know. It was hard to answer the question. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Of course, candy, I think, is going to be less, but people will buy them, and that might be, maybe less of. But I think that those types of things that they can do with their families, like Easter egg hunts, I think the adults will be out there doing it too, because it's just going to change things. So,
are you guys planning anything spectacular for your Easter meal? Like, what are you going to make something delicious?
That was my point. Sorry, you mentioned cupcakes, and now I want a cupcake. But someone mentioned, family members said they're going to make cinnamon rolls for Easter, and they're going to bring them over and they're going to put them on our porch, and we'll go and get them, and then we'll have our cinnamon rolls. Somebody else had mentioned they're going to make cupcakes, Easter cupcakes, and they bought all these cute little decorations they can put on the cupcakes. And so, different things like that. Would that have happened before? Or, if there was no pandemic? I think, a lot of people go out to eat, or they go to restaurants, and the things that they would eat would be a little bit different, maybe. I don't know. So it's interesting. We'll have to see.
So from an overall standpoint, when it comes to those trends that we're talking about, that you've looked at from a historical standpoint, what is your main takeaway from the research that you've done and these trends? Like, what's the thing you would want us and our listeners to get out of it?
People are really thinking about staying safe. What's safe? What's right? What's ethical? What does this mean to me and my family as I grow older? Things like that. So people were looking at the clean label things because they want that comfort of knowing that this is better for me. Healthy living. People are definitely thinking about longevity and strength and cognitive health and mental well-being. A lot of stuff going on around that. Now it's also going to be about another huge one, disease control. How can I, take care of my family the best way? So it's all about trust and transparency for companies right now.
One of the really interesting ones I saw on your list of the top trends is generational divide. I know we all probably shop differently, and it's probably even changed even more during the pandemic I always order my groceries online because that's the kind of person I am. But I've also now, my grandma has started ordering through Instacart, and is where she was very against that in the past. But now she's ordering her groceries online and having them delivered. And so is there more to this generational divide, that trend you're seeing and that you've made note of that is notable? And that no, there's a lot of things you could talk about for a while, but that's where the millennials and the Gen Zs and the Gen X and the boomers come in, and how different they are when they go shopping, where they went to shop, how much they buy and what they buy were very different. But the four generations are now the biggest shoppers, and that one coming up, like the Gen Z, which is just behind the millennials, is going to kind of drive the purchase intent for families, and how that might change. I think that with this whole pandemic, people are going to look at things a little bit differently, but it's important to know what people do and how they react. Technology. My dad, for example,
didn't even have a cell phone. He used his wife's cell phone, my stepmother's cell phone. So whenever we called, they would put it on speaker and we'd all have this conversation.
Gather around.
And he now is ordering groceries online. He's using his Hy-Vee app, and he's going online and they're picking their things out because they have to. And then they're going to Hy-Vee for curbside checkout. And they never would have done that before.
No.
Before this happened.
It's like
but
thrusting
yeah,
them
so it's interesting.
into a new way of doing things. Whereas like my grandparents don't want to do anything different. Like they have been doing the same thing forever.
Exactly. That was my grandma. She was like, no, don't like this technology business.
Right.
No.
And, they always suspect someone is like trying to take advantage, and they're, Instacart. No, it's taking advantage.
I don't want anybody to know where I live.
Right.
That was my grandma's thing.
What I buy. So I think that's a really interesting observation.
So does technology advancements play into the generational divide trend? Is there a separate trend that kind of goes along with all of this technological advancement that we're seeing? I mean, just on the consumer side, there's tons of apps and different build your own sandwiches and pick it up at the store type scenarios. There's also manufacturing technology enhancements that make things easier for bread manufacturers or food manufacturers. So is that a trend that you're seeing things happen in, or not affecting things too much?
Absolutely. And, when it comes to the generations, I think it will be different later, but what people are willing to order online, what people find to be the most convenient, how can they save time? How can they save time and buy certain products and it still feels safe to them? And it's still comforting, it's still exciting, it's still new. And going online and doing your research ahead of time will help you make those decisions. And so I think more people will be researching and reading and learning more online before they go shopping. And so, and that was kind of already showing up quite a bit, but more so, and there's actually numbers that define this, but there's certain age groups that actually did more of that than before. Than ever before. So yeah, absolutely.
One thing that triggered in my head of crazy thoughts that just bounce around all the time was you're talking about convenience and making things easier and quicker. And, we did that breakfast study, and what we found was that millennials have a very defined timeline. Like they want things for breakfast that take 3 minutes or less. I think it was.
Oh, really?
3 minutes. Like we want it to be done in 3 minutes and not messy.
So like microwavable food. Is that, I mean, I can't think of anything. What other breakfast foods can you make in 3 minutes? An egg? I guess.
Grab and go type scenarios.
Right.
It's like an egg and some cheese and nuts, poppables.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, the bars, anything snacking. And I think you probably heard about this trend too, is the snacking trend. And it goes across all of the different categories of foods, but people were snacking as meals. Which is why what do they call it in Spanish? These little restaurants were coming up and popping up everywhere, where appetizers were taking over the menu.
Oh,
like
tapas.
The small plate tapas. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have to say, JoAnn, I'm super happy that snacking is now a trend, because I've been doing it forever, and that makes me a trendsetter. Now
you're super trendy.
Yeah, I'm a trendsetter.
You probably started the trend.
Yeah.
I love tapas food, but I don't like to share the ones that I picked. Is that
also
I find one that's really good, and I'm like, I don't want to give away all the good pieces. These are the ones I liked.
That's right. Get your own tapas.
Exactly.
That's what I have to say.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have one more question then about this, the trends, and JoAnn has actually provided us a list of the trends. So CJ and I are looking at the list right now. Right. And one of the things that interests me is the sustainability part of it, because my small brain can't wrap around like what that sustainability looks like. Like I understand how a field can be sustainable. I understand how you could sustainably farm, cows so that, it doesn't destroy the environment. But from your perspective in these trends, what are people looking for, and are they understanding what that sustainability truly is and what it looks like?
Yeah, I think people, if they know what it means, I think they think about it being environmentally safe. That's kind of
okay. So what does it like? Tell me what it means.
But there's actually 3 pillars to sustainability. There's the social, there's the economical, and then there's the environmental. And so when I split out the macro trends, I kind of take those by example for each one of those. So social is more around finding on a package that might say eco-friendly, compostable packaging, things of that nature, and people thinking about the impact of those sustainability claims. And so the most of the time, that's where the consumer's mind is that, is this recyclable? And
so packaging, not necessarily the food.
Right. And so, and so people are looking at it. Can I repurpose this? And, farm to table.
Is it compostable? Is it?
That.
Right.
Yes.
Cool.
And then you have the bigger environmental ones. And those are things where we're really looking into and thinking about climate control. And there's a number of security measures and what do you call it, regulations and things like that manage the climate control. So it's all about, the world itself and how can we preserve it. And then that just takes you right into the environmental. And so understanding these things and having better traceability throughout the supply chain is very powerful. And right now, it's more so than ever. So,
right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I'm loving all of this information and everything, but we're going to take a few minutes and break it up and take a little break and do a fun segment that we like to call Eat, Save, Give. We are going to present you with 3 different highly desirable food items, and you are going to have to decide which one are you going to eat now, which one are you going to save for later, and which one are you going to give away and never see again. So this is a critical conversation.
One of them will not be highly desirable is what you're saying.
To you,
I'm not going to
me,
share.
And we're all going to do it. We're all going to say what we would do.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
are
you ready for today's Eat, Save, Give?
Yes.
Now it's time for Eat, Save, Give, a thoughtful peek into the hearts, minds, and taste palates of our guests.
You have
Got it.
a chocolate croissant, delicious, warm, chicken and cheese quesadilla, which who doesn't love quesadillas?
True.
Or old classic nostalgia PB&J. Eat, save, give. What are you going to do?
I'm going to give away, believe it or not, the chocolate croissant.
I
like
handle this right now.
I love bread and baked goods, but chocolate croissants, it's not going to taste the same for me. I just want chocolate when I have chocolate, not chocolate flavored things.
So you're like a purist. Like you will eat a bar of chocolate, but not chocolate flavored. Like, do you ever drink the chocolate coffee at work or?
No.
See,
I don't. And when I go to Starbucks, I get coffee. I don't get all the, lattes and things like that.
Oh, my order's like 5 minutes long.
Mine's pretty late.
I'll do anyway.
You're giving away the chocolate croissant, which is stabbing me in the heart. But
I'm going to take it because then I'm going to have 2.
Mm-hmm. So what are you going to eat now?
I'm going to eat now the quesadilla because it's lunchtime and it sounds really good. I have quesadillas like, 2-3 times a week. I know it sounds silly, but it's a great snack. And
I love them.
It'll be my lunch,
Tortillas.
Especially since we're home. It's just easy and fast and convenient. That's all the trends.
Just a true life confession. These 3 items are 3 of my favorite things, and that's why I picked them for this one.
And then
I love it.
What do I have? The save one? Oh, I'm going to save the peanut butter and jelly for my late night snack.
Oh, I like it.
I
Jenny,
love peanut butter and jelly.
What are you doing?
I have some qualifiers. Like peanut butter and jelly, I feel like it needs to be toasted. Like if it's not toasted,
So it's all melty.
That's what I'm giving away. I'm giving up my PB&J. I don't even like it unless it's toasted and it's
it has to be on.
I've had too much
fluffy,
wine
soft bread. I do like peanut butter and jelly toast too, I guess, but that's like a breakfast thing. That's a different scenario.
So I'm giving that away.
Oh,
so you can have mine. Okay. And then I'm going to save my chicken quesadilla because I know it'll heat up pretty well. And I'm going to eat my chocolate croissant right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am somewhere in between you two. I'm going to eat my chocolate croissant right now, because those are my favorite things. I love the little melty chocolate in the middle and a big flaky croissant. And I'm on a mission every time I go on vacation to find the best chocolate croissant in like the world. So I just gorge myself on them on vacation. I am going to save the peanut butter and jelly, I think.
It's going to get soggy, you know.
Yeah. And I'm going to give away the quesadilla, I think. That's where I'm at right now. It might change. That could change in a minute, but that's where I'm at. Okay, one more revealing question. What has been your go-to isolation snack? What are you eating the most of this isolation time? I've been at home for 3 weeks, and all I've done is eat. So
can it be brownies, for example? Or no?
Yeah, it could be whatever you want it to be.
Can it be an alcohol?
I mean, that's I think a given. So I think it just has to be.
So we're just gonna go food. Okay, guys.
What are you eating with your wine?
Definitely, it's the chocolate. That's where it comes in. And my husband made the big error of getting me into Oreo thins. We thought, well,
what is
they're thin? We can eat more of those. They're Oreos, but they're just thinner.
I need like the really triple double stuffed Oreo. Like if I'm gonna have Oreos,
the fat one.
Mine has been Starburst. I've been gorging myself on Starburst.
Really?
Yes. I don't even ever eat them really in real life, but
I like
pandemic life, I do.
I've been eating like charcuterie kind of stuff. Like I love prosciutto. I love the little spicy meat, like salamis that are hard meat.
Yes.
And cheese, because of course having wine every night because it's a pandemic.
Perfect.
It is. So that's I always lean towards savory over sweet. So my snacks are always probably going to be savory.
I'm torn. It goes back and forth. As you can tell, my decision-making skills are questionable at best. And so it changes per moment, per day, per what just popped in my head. But alas, back to the task at hand of the 2020 trends and what we are seeing and where we are going. One question I had that while we were talking about our Eat Save Gives, so when we're talking about convenience and this expedited time and then people always looking for, snacks or quick things, do you think that, and this is just, it's your opinion, but do you think that is the same during these times where we're in isolation? Like, I know for me, it's been pretty different. I'm not necessarily looking for those on-the-go snacks or things that are super quick.
Yeah, me too. It's totally changed.
Yeah. No, I think during the pandemic, that's probably true because it's not as free and easy to be able to go and just pick something up. You're not in a convenience store and it's like, oh, I'm going to grab that. Oh, this is great for lunch. It's fast. Those things. But I think afterwards, hopefully in the near term, I think it'll go back to that and more so because of the urbanization trend. It really means that people are moving to the cities. They're more moving faster around the world. Hopefully we're all traveling again. And you need those bite-sized items and you need that nourishment. And that's what I was talking about earlier about the snacking trend is people are using that as their meal. It's just replacing what they would normally have had a sit-down lunch or a breakfast. They're on the go, and those things will definitely still be a staple. I think. Well, it's remained to be seen, but yeah.
So as we talk about that urbanization and people moving to these city cores, are we seeing a rise in some of these worldly ethnic culture type items where people are coming from all around the world and all around the country and moving into these urban cores? Are we seeing a rise in some of those products and their popularity?
Oh, for sure. One of the largest macro trends that I also have that I do a lot of research around is called evolving landscapes. Really, that one was about just what you're talking about. It's about international flavors, globalization, the moving around and picking up different traditions and things of that nature. I still think that it's still a very strong macro trend. All those trends that are related to that are. But I think that people are going to definitely go back to, remember when I was in Italy and I had this particular item? They're going to want to bring that back and seek comfort in that. So anything that brings cultural recognition. It could be maybe local if they live in an ethnic neighborhood or something of that nature. The people that live here that have come from other countries, the migration, things of that nature are not going to stop. I think they're going to flood to areas where they may not be comfortable in, and so they're going to get to know a lot of those international flavors.
And I know me and my friends totally do that. Like either we're always trying to recreate something we had while on vacation, and so like I go into the butcher and I'm like, I need this specific meat to
I need a tri-tip.
make this fancy dinner, or we're like, what sounds new and exciting, and we're like watching the Food Network channel and they use some crazy type of bread, and I go over to the bakery that's down the street and I start prying them for information. Like, do you have a bread that's like this? Which I live down in the River Market in Kansas City, and we're starting to see all those little things pop up. So now there's like a little bakery and there's a butcher shop on the corner, and there's all those little specialty stores that popped up that us millennials love to go in and buy.
Yeah, and I think after lockdown, it'll be a yearning of people wanting those Asian flavors or things like that. Because last night we were all craving pho.
I wanted that for my birthday. That was supposed to be my birthday lunch. I was craving it too.
I wanted that. And so the ones up here are closed.
Ours were closed too.
So we were so sad. We ended up getting pizza.
I think
people have a yearning for those things. And when it does open, like people will be flourishing to that area that you're talking about, CJ, just to get those items that they couldn't have for a while.
Right. And there's also the whole adventurous eating trend. Like,
exactly.
It's all on TV. You see it everywhere, right? Like ugly food is like this trend that's delicious food that maybe doesn't look the best or what. And I mean, I think that kind of eating is kind of new. I did
almost order that box that was like the outcasted vegetables and fruits that they'll send you. Yes. Because people won't buy them because
Don't they call it like imperfect or something like that?
Yep, the imperfect vegetables.
I lived in Canada.
That repurposing. Yep.
Yeah, I lived in Canada about 10 years ago, and here in Kansas City, I feel like we just had some, just kind of basic food, right? We had Italian, we had steak. I went to Canada and I ate Ethiopian food and amazing Indian food and Greek and all of these things that were like truly authentic. And I've come back home searching for those things and how to make them. So, I mean, that to me makes sense, that whole evolve, how it's all evolving and people are getting more adventurous, especially the millennial, section of people. So,
and retailers know this, a lot of the retailers, and you'll see that certain aisles will be dedicated to a certain ethnic variety because
now there's an aisle that says Mexican. Or Italian, or I said Italian.
This has been awesome. So we've hit on, ethical and responsible, evolving landscapes, the growing food and safety regulations, global wellness, generational divide, technology, all the good stuff that consumers are looking for and that food manufacturers need to be aware of. Is there anything else that you want to add before we call it a day?
I don't think so. I think it'll be interesting to recap here in a few months. Maybe we can recap this because I think there's going to be a lot of change. And some of those bigger, higher ones will still be prevalent, but the different trends down below, like the micro trends, will have evolved and changed. So,
and that is definitely something listeners can look forward to. We'll dive deeper into these trends throughout the rest of the season 1 of the podcast, and then even take some looks at how the pandemic shifted consumer purchasing behaviors, which ones are going to stick, which ones are going to revert back to the 2020 trends we have. So there's a lot to look forward to. And you will definitely be back on here, I'm sure.
JoAnn, thank you so much for being here today. I've learned so much, and I can't wait to talk to you in the future.
Yes, thank you for joining us. All the information was awesome.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you to everyone for joining us on our maiden voyage of A Fresh Perspective, a podcast that is about everything food. If you need more information on what consumers are doing, what they're buying, what they're not buying, what's changing, or you just want to see more videos of us, you just haven't had enough, you can go to thebakerstake.com, our blog, where you can find all of that, plus recipes, plus troubleshooting, and more. Thank you guys for listening.
And don't forget, keep creating.